I always have a lot of pots boiling, and when you have so many things going on in your life that keep you really busy, it can be really hard to keep your tanks nice and clean like they should be. And if you struggle with tank maintenance, or even remembering to do tank maintenance, then let me share with you these 5 strategies that I've come up with that have really helped keep me on the straight and narrow and keep my tanks nice and clean.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. My first strategy is really simple. It's just getting into a routine where tank maintenance is something that you don't even really have to think about. And this isn't gonna really happen after 1 or 2 weeks of setting up a routine where you do maintenance on a certain day. It's gonna happen over time. So it'll take several weeks, but eventually it'll be something that you don't have to think about. So here's something that you can do that'll make it even easier to get this into a routine. And that's to have this actually piggyback onto a habit or some kind of event that you have scheduled every week. And that'll make it easier to associate this tank maintenance with what you're already doing. For instance, if you have dinner or you go out to dinner every Friday night, well then you can just also add your tank maintenance to either before or after you go to dinner. It'll be so much easier for your brain that's already wired to remember to go to dinner every Friday night to then also remember to do tank maintenance. And here's something that kind of breaks a rule that, well, definitely breaks a rule that I've told you before, and that's to work it into something that you're already doing at the same time.
Danger. Which
can be a distraction, I know, but here's the thing, hear me out. So let's say, for instance, that you like football. And I know in my last video I said that I hate football. That's not entirely true, everybody. I don't hate football, I just don't like it that much anymore because my team doesn't exist. So I'm a little mad.
Fair.
So I can actually choose to do my tank maintenance on a day when I'm watching football, and I'll sit down, put the game on, but it's gotta be in the same room as my tank that I'm doing maintenance on. Let's say I'm doing a water change. And my water changes don't require me to be there toting buckets around. Get a submersible pump and a hose and you won't have to do anything, hardly at all. So just sit there, watch football, and set a timer on your phone that'll go off every 5 minutes to check on your fish status to make sure they're doing fine. And then also just hit snooze, and then after 5 minutes it'll go off again. When it gets close to the top, when your tank's ready to be filled up, then you can stop what you're doing and go over and take care of your tank actively and just stand right in front of it. But the tank has to be in the same room as you. You have to set a timer, and you also need to know your limits. If you have a really hard time keeping focus, and it's likely that your tank's gonna overflow while you're filling it back up, then don't do that. But still, tying something that you already have a habit of, along with your tank maintenance, will go a long way into helping you remember to do it.
Subscribe or someone dies. Ding ding.
The next strategy that I use is to schedule my tank maintenance for a day and time that works really well for me. So I don't want to schedule it on a day that I know is going to be hard to, first of all, remember to do my tank maintenance, but also it's going to be hard to actually get it done on that day. For me, I don't like to do a lot of aquarium work on my actual weekend. I'd prefer to do it on my work Friday. So I'll get home from work, then I'll go out to dinner, come back home, and immediately start a water change. So let's say you would prefer to actually have it done on a day when you don't have anything scheduled, which would usually be a weekend. So you can schedule your tank maintenance on a Saturday or a Sunday and just have that day to relax and get all your tank maintenance done. And that works really well if you're watching football. But the most important thing is to schedule this on a day and time when it's not gonna be such a huge pain in the butt that you're just never gonna do it. Schedule at a time that works for you. And by the way, are you a weekender or a weekday aquarium maintenance person? Or maybe you're crazy enough and you do it every day, I don't know. This next one is one that I don't really use yet that much. I mean, to some degree I do, but it's one I plan on implementing very soon. And that's to write everything down. It's easy to think that you're gonna do your tank maintenance every Friday or Saturday, but it's also easy to forget it when it comes around. But I think that actually writing it down either on paper or if you have an online calendar that you use, then that'll help cement it in your mind so that you think, oh yeah, okay, it's Friday, it says here I'm supposed to do my water maintenance, I almost forgot, I'll get it done. But an added benefit of this that can really help you out is that you can also log in your book or online calendar things that you've done so that if something goes wrong, you can look back and go, what did I do in the last couple weeks that may have caused one of my fish to die? And so you look back and maybe you did a water change, or maybe you did filter cleaning, or maybe you started changing their food, something like that. And you can look back and go, okay, well I started that then, and then some bad things happen. So maybe it's tied in somehow. But like I said, writing it down will cement it in your brain that it's time to do your maintenance. This next strategy is a really good one because it's going to help keep you from biting off more than you can chew. Don't schedule too much on one day, or schedule it all in one day. Whatever works best for you. I do huge water changes on my 2 big tanks, and that takes up all my water, so it's hard for me to get home from work, go to dinner, come back and change every tank in the house before it's time to go to bed. So I do a couple of these on one day and then the rest of them on the next morning. But if it's hard for you to remember to do multiple things on one day, then maybe schedule everything from morning to whenever you're done on a certain day and just take care of it all at once. But if that's too much for you and you have a good memory as far as like remembering what to do on different days, then you can just say, you know, I'm gonna do my 55-gallon tank on Monday, a couple 10-gallon tanks on Tuesday, and then I'm gonna do a filter cleaning on Wednesday. And if that works for you, that's the most important thing. Just make sure you don't bite off more than you can chew or stretch it out so that it becomes too cumbersome for you. Totally a matter of preference. Real quick, I just want to say thanks to everyone who took the time to suggest which type of rocks to use in my 75-gallon Mbuna tank on last week's video. I really appreciate you all. And special thanks to viewer SArch111 who advised to get tennis ball sized river rocks with at least one flat side and place them randomly throughout the tank. Then add larger flat rocks over them to create nice little caves. Then keep piling them up until they have so many caves, they'll be in weirdo fish heaven. I was already using river rocks, but I was stacking them the wrong way. So thank you to Sarch111 and thank you to everyone else who commented on my video. Thank you. Here's my next strategy that I use that really helps a lot. And this is maybe if you have some free time, like maybe 20 minutes or a half hour. I'll schedule a smaller tank for Tuesday, and then since it only takes about 5 minutes, I might already be in the cleaning mood and then hop over to do the 55-gallon grow out tank since it only takes another 20 minutes. Getting started is always the hardest part, so start with something small and then maybe it'll turn into something bigger.
That's what she said.
Maybe schedule a wipe down of all the external glass on your aquariums, and since you're already doing something easy to make your tanks look great, you might find it hard to stop and then decide to do the inside of the glass as well. You can fool yourself into getting a lot more aquarium maintenance done that way. I already said it, but the reason I usually fail to get something done is usually because I couldn't motivate myself to get started. So get moving on something small and you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish. Now let me ask you, what's a trick you have in making sure your aquarium maintenance gets done on a regular and timely basis even though you have a busy lifestyle? Leave a comment and then I'll pick one and share it along with your channel name with everyone in the next video. And by the way, I do respond to every single comment on my channel. Your comments will never go ignored here. It's time for your bonus.
Okay.
One viewer recently mentioned that they just didn't have enough time to keep up on their tank as it was. I think it was an African cichlid tank. African cichlids are poop machines of the second highest order, right beneath plecos. So this viewer swapped out their psycho cichlids for normal fish with a lower stocking level, which made it so much more manageable for him. It's important to know what your limits are. You've got priorities, and if you're a little unclear on where the aquarium hobby falls in with your other priorities, then just make a list. If there are a lot more pressing and important things in your life that don't leave time for big-ass aquariums with messy nutjob fish like I have, then maybe cutting back is a good thing for you during this season of your life. This hobby is a blast, but it isn't worth stressing yourself to death over. So like I said, know your limits, and if you need to, see if you can make any changes to the size of your tanks or maybe what kind of fish you're keeping. It might make all the difference in the world for you, and then you might be able to keep up on your tank maintenance, even with your busy schedule. But getting your maintenance schedule under control is only one piece of the puzzle. Make sure you're not also making one of these big mistakes, or things can get nasty in a hurry. You've been watching the Cichlid Charmer, and as always, thank you for watching. God bless, and I'll catch you next time.